I talk to people now and again. The Ohtani thing may be imminent. It may be done in the next week or two, is what I was told. So who knows? That could mean at 11:09, which is in 5 seconds. Or
imminent meaning what exactly?
He'll make his decision.
So just a decision will be made.
He will decide where he's going. Again,
okay.
That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that's what I heard through having my ear to the ground. Let's say it happens today, tomorrow, this weekend, whatever. And he makes the decision that I'm hoping that he decides to come to the Dodgers. And your question was, okay, cool, now what? What does it do for the team? What does it do for the vibe? What does it do for the rest of the moves in free agency?
Yeah.
All of these other things. And when you asked it, I thought, because my first reaction was it almost, not completely, but it almost kind of takes a giant eraser to what happened the last couple of years, and the enthusiasm is right back because you have this unbelievable talent who's going to show up and play 150 games for you. Not that losing to the Padres wasn't gut-wrenching, not that losing to the Diamondbacks wasn't about as frustrating a moment that Dodger fans have had in a long time, but it would literally be one of those things that is, hey, we have the best player in baseball. And, depending on terms, he's going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
And now let's go see what happens next. Now that we had a good team, but now we have the best player in the league.
All right, let me tell you what I think happens. I think forget baseball. Put baseball to the side. If Ohtani decided tomorrow that I'm signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers, it's as big of a move that you have your knowledge, history, and your roots are in L.A. It's as big of a move that the city of Los Angeles would have had in any sports signing in the history of this unbelievable city when it comes to sports. There isn't a bigger player in the game, and I'm talking about global. Yes, there's the soccer players, there's Messi, there's Ronaldo. Ohtani has completely shifted everybody's face when it comes to how you look at a baseball player. He's taken people like my girl who's, hey, I'd love to go see Shohei Ohtani. You haven't watched a baseball game in your life. What are you talking about? Yeah, but I want to go see Shohei Ohtani. It is as big of a move that you can possibly imagine in the city of L.A. I'm going to go back to your history because you can hit on that better than I can. What are moves as big as signing?
There's two that pop. There's two
as
that
big
pop
as signing Shohei Ohtani
into my mind. LeBron a few years ago when he decided, but it was different because LeBron, even though he's been here a really long time now, it was okay. This is his final stop. This is and it likely will be. Who knows? But it was.
He's here to make movies.
He wasn't coming here when he went to Miami. That was. How many titles are we going to win? Is it going to be 2, 10? There was still unknown possibilities. With LeBron coming to the Lakers a few years ago, there was, hey, let's hit this right away.
It's the biggest brand of a player with the biggest brand of a team.
The other one that was ginormous.
Gretzky?
Yes. Because Gretzky was like Ohtani in this way. People that didn't give a damn about hockey, didn't know the blue line from cross-checking, right? They knew nothing. They knew Wayne Gretzky. They knew 99, and they didn't know anything about the sport other than, hey, what do you know about I don't know. They got Wayne Gretzky. They got that guy who was at the pinnacle of his career, or at least at the very, towards the end of his prime. Not towards the end of his career, but towards the end of his prime, and there was still some prime left. And it was out of nowhere. It just all of a sudden, like, what we got. I remember Mike Downey, who was the columnist or one of the columnists at the time, wrote a line. It's like, just to put this in perspective of what's going on in Canada, this would be like if the Lakers had traded Magic Johnson to an Italian team for 3 guys named Giuseppe. That's what just happened today, that the very best thing that you can think of just left for 3 people you don't even know who they are, to a place that doesn't even know what it is that they're getting. The Kings had a history, but
sure.
It's the Kings. It's not the Canadians, the Bruins, the Rangers. It's not the Blackhawks. It's not one of those. It's the LA Kings. It's like, okay, cool. Those are the only 2.
Can you take what you just said and take a global icon that everybody's saying, I don't know what to compare him to. Yeah. I don't know what he is. And you put him with one of the most prestigious brands in all of baseball. But let me take it a step further. The reason why I don't like the LeBron comp to it is because Lakers have won so many championships over the years. Now, LeBron was the biggest name and still is the biggest name in the sport, But LeBron adding a title to the Lakers is, oh, there's another banner. Mm-hmm. Here's a reality with the Dodgers. And maybe this is where you start mixing in the baseball part of it. They have been very disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, since 1988, they have one World Series, and that one World Series has a very interesting predicament to it.
Yeah, it's different.
And it's different. So the fact that I think that there's this, use the last couple of years or use this window under Andrew Friedman and the new group that every single year they're good, but they can't get over the top. You could potentially get that guy. Just to me, when we say if it happened tomorrow, I think of this, and I've thought of this before. Can you imagine that Ohtani is a Dodger, and Ohtani decides, and his PR group decides, let's go to a Los Angeles Lakers game.
Yeah.
Let's go to a Lakers game.
Yamamoto was at a game the other day.
You're right.
Just saying.
You're right about that. But Ohtani is 1,000 times more known than him, sure. And if he's a Los Angeles Dodger, just imagine what that would be at a Laker game. So to try to add some context to what nothing's happened, we don't know if it's going to happen, but I think there is what we think it's going to be. I guarantee you if it actually happened would be much bigger than you think it is.
What happens if they don't get him? That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. And a buddy of mine, Brian, on the phone, Brian Beckner said, who we talked about on the Friday Facts with Morales the other day, he said Shaq coming was also when the Lakers signed Shaq away from Orlando with his free agency.
Because he was peak at powers.
He was still ascending.
And
right?
how that all went down, too. Orlando thought, oh, no, we're bringing him back. And Jerry West like a freaking thief in the night.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was already a mega star, but he was still getting better by the time he got to the Lakers. And, of course.
Have you seen that documentary, that Shaq documentary from HBO?
I don't think so.
He explains that whole process and what really went down. Like, it's really good.
Orlando were they kind of nickel and diming him a little bit?
Right. Can you imagine how stupid you would have to be to do that?
How stupid. And by the time it was like, I think they thought they can go back, and it's like, no, this thing's done. He is gone. You had your chance.
Reputation ruined.
Shaquille O'Neal is going to be a Los Angeles Laker, and they couldn't put it together.
The nickel and diming a young Shaq would be like going to Ohtani right now and saying, if you're the Angels.
And he wants to come to you.
And he's interested in saying, listen, man, we're already paying Trout and Rendon all this money. I don't know if we can get there for you. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You're dead to me.
Yeah.
And we're done here.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
And they got to the NBA Finals. Like the Magic would have won a championship with Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah. No question about it.
Almost for sure, right? I mean, he's Shaq.
Yeah.
I don't think this trade necessarily fits in what we're saying, with the, this big major person coming in free agency, choosing Los Angeles as a place to go. But how shocking was it with the Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff trade? Because 1-for-1 QBs almost never trade. Starting QBs almost never trade in the NFL.
Yeah.
I know for me, working the network, it was a shocking thing just because we thought something was going to happen, but maybe not that.
Right.
But was it shocking?
You agree that would be 1/1000th of a percent of
less.
Yeah, of course. I know this is a different topic.
I know, but here's the big difference. Like Goff it was very clear that he was good, not great. And Sean McVay had made it crystal clear that he was not, down anymore. And Matthew Stafford at that point was still, we're not quite sure what Matthew. We know they can put up fantasy numbers.
Really good for a bad team for a long time.
Is this a fantasy quarterback that had Calvin Johnson and he's go throw for 1 billion yards?
But
or
you're not getting W's.
A difference maker. We didn't know. It's still unknown.
It's also the only time ever. That's the only situation, though, that you could trade starting quarterback or starting quarterback.
Unusual.
Because you have to have two teams that don't trust their guy that guy could do it for them.
Well, the Lions did not trust him. He finally had said, listen, it's time for me to move on. I've given you, I think it was 12 years. I've given you guys 12 years to figure this out. It hasn't gotten figured out. I need to take a shot at this somewhere else. And nobody in Detroit has a single hard feeling about Matthew Stafford. He's still incredibly popular there. The Lions and the organization they're like, yeah, we get it, man. Like we understand. And by the way, Lions got a lot better by making that deal. They got picks. They got a good quarterback. It worked out for everybody.
If I can answer your question of, well, what happens if Ohtani doesn't come to the Dodgers, to be honest with you, then I think it's just as simple as the same bitching and complaining. What are you guys going to do? There's a little bit of a...
You get a little bounce if you get Yamamoto after. It's like, okay, we missed on Ohtani, but we got Yamamoto.
So. Yeah, I think so. But I think there's also the trust that Dodger fans have in that front office is we trust what we know you're going to do in the regular season. We trust that you're going to make, it seems like, smart decisions in the offseason. We don't trust that you're essentially all in every year and you're willing to do whatever it takes to go win a World Series. I think that part will continue.
Yeah, and there's no ambiguity about Shohei. Like, there's no, hey, you think he'll be good? He's good. Even if he never throws another pitch, you are getting one of the best offensive players in the whole league.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like, even if the pitching thing goes up in smoke, which I don't think it will, I think, maybe he'll come back and just be, good as opposed to Cy Young candidate. But even if he's just good, it's still
well. Then they'll go get pitching.
Yeah, and the Yamamoto thing, while I expect him to be very, very good, you're not 1,000% sure. You're 98% sure because it's just different league. You never know how it's going to translate.